Hi guys. It's your little puppies, yeah. Beautiful sunset. Oh. Take a little walkie walk. I just finished the video today already, and I uploaded it, and it's not public yet because YouTube didn't want to monetize it. So when that happens, then you click another button and then they'll review it manually, you know, to see if you didn't insult somebody or something, you know, and or if there's any copyrights or something. I don't, it's not about copyrights. I don't know what, you know, it's just about they didn't like the video, so it got spit out by the machine. A lot of times they'll just come back and after they've re-examined it and they'll let it go, but sometimes they won't. And if they don't, I usually try to delete those videos because I don't want any trouble. So we'll see what happens with this one. I don't know. I can't imagine why they would not allow this video. I don't think I did anything. Well, I mean, I always go right up to the line with some of the things I'm saying, but I'm using a lot of innuendos and stuff, so who knows? I don't know what to say. Don't know what to do. But the best I can, huh? Boy, I don't know. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Look at those colors. Whew. Hi! Woo-hoo-hoo. You jump pretty high there, buddy. Woo, you jump too. You jump? Did you jump? There you go. You all did it. Yeah, they're jumpers. And I hear the dogs over here. And he worries me, but he's on a chain. But he's been off at times when I go by here, and he comes out here, roar, 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 roar. And I just stand there and look at him, and he doesn't come. He don't mess with anybody. He just likes to bark. He acts like he's, you know, a big tough guy, but maybe that's his daddy. I don't think so. Uh-oh, there's another one coming too. No, come here. Come on. Come on, little Barry. When you get bigger, then you don't have to worry about that, but you're too little. Challenging other dogs. Oh, wow. So I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and I needed to take a walk. I hadn't taken my walk, and it's a good time of evening to take a walk. It's not really cold, not bad. But usually sometimes you'll get a nice sunset. Especially the way the clouds are today. It kind of just seems to be a few clouds there to make a nice sunset with. What you got something? Trying to take it from her? A little selfish. Sometimes they're so selfish, and other times they're just as kind. They got a bone that they'll sit there and chew on one end. One will chew on one end and the other chew on the other end, and they share it, which is pretty amazing. Even humans, I haven't seen share things quite like that. They're all pretty good brothers and sisters to each other. She's the orneriest, though. Sometimes she can be a real pill. This one's the most timid, and she's the biggest, so I think she'll be the protector because she's, well, I don't know. Mr. Buster's not as big, I don't think. But, you know, he looks like a fighter, not a lover. Well, he's a pretty good lover, too. He's pretty tough. He can hold his own, even though he's a little smaller than Miss Barry. They wrestle. But he's going to be, I don't even know what kind of dog that is. Almost looks like a little chow or something. They're pretty tough. He's got some spunk. Oh, please. So by the time I get back, I'll probably just go ahead and make that video public, regardless of whether they turn the monetization on or not. For years, I didn't do, I just turned them all on, regardless of whether they monetized it. And I noticed that they were doing that to about half of my videos. And I normally get most of my clicks right within the first couple hours. So those are the 2 hours that they wait to see if they want to monetize it. So if I don't wait, I lose most of the revenue on those videos. So I've learned I have to wait until they okay it. That's about the only way if I'm going to have any income at all from these videos, which isn't much at all. And I do have to pay the rent, so I usually wait now. Been doing it that way for about a year. I wait. So I try to get my videos done early in case there's going to be a hang-up. I got mine done pretty early today. I started early today. Not going to be a long walk. I just want to walk over here and take a look at this beautiful sunset. Maybe from the balcony over here. There's that little wooden balcony. That might be where we'll go. Right here. Not the one over there by the lake. Just the one right here. Yeah. Oh, we're going to get there just about right. It's going to be beautiful. I think we're missing it. Missing it. Love this little forest. It's a beautiful lawn with all the leaves. Oh, wow. This is going to be pretty. Right at this sacred spot, Imagine how people used to argue about clouds. If you know, back when they probably, if you know, at some point in history when people didn't know what condensation was, and or they hadn't put it together. Probably didn't take them long to figure that out, though. But and they're like, well, wait a minute now. If water goes up when it turns into steam, then there's this invisible stuff we call air. Is it some other kind of smaller element? I mean, you know, you couldn't just imagine that they understood. Funny how a lot of people today are talking about the flat earth and stuff. And they just take for granted that science says that this is real small particles, that you can't see them. And they take that, they believe that. Nobody's trying to argue that. You know. I could definitely excuse me, see somebody coming along going, I've got a new theory, guys. I think they're lying to us. It's not anything. If it were something, we could see it. Right? If the Bible says he hangs the earth upon nothing, then it's nothing. And I don't care what NASA says. It's nothing. Well, what are those clouds? Well, now that's something, because I can see it. But between us and the clouds is nothing. Well, then how does light get through the nothing and reflect upon the water? Well, light goes through nothing. That's not hard to understand. It just goes right through like a bullet, because there's nothing there to stop it. Okay. So what is light? You can't see light. Yes, I can see light. Why? There it is. You see it? That's light. Okay. Guess you're right. Well, why is it different colors? You know? After all, that's a cloud, not light. You know, what's happening to the cloud that it's absorbing all the light? Well, I won't believe it. NASA's a liar. I don't believe it's light. What's happening is the universe is full of darkness. And there's not light coming from the sun to the earth. Why, that's ridiculous. It's the darkness of the earth that's rising to put out the white, beautiful reality. Because the sun is the only thing that's real. We're not actually real. We're the darkness that's rising in the balmy Netherlands of this underworld they call hell. I could start 5 different theories, scientific theories, that you've never heard of right here on camera. And I wonder if any of them would take root and start growing and canvas the whole world, and there'd be a bunch of YouTubers going out there saying, we've got a new theory, there's no light, it's only darkness. You know, they used to think that flies, they could see them being born from maggots. And well, now, forget the fly. That blew my whole story. Because now that you know about flies, if you knew about flies, you'd know what a maggot was. But they would go and they'd see a dead carcass, and they would see all these maggots. It would just appear out of nowhere. Or bacteria, or little animals in your stagnant water would just start evolving out of the water. So there was, for a long time, a lot of people believed that life evolved like a pollywog from the water. They go, well, that's where life comes from. They must evolve from little germs, little specks of bacteria. They evolved into an amebio, and then they become little polywogs, and then they become flies. And at that point, I guess flies eventually become frogs or something, and, you know, in thousands of years they become birds, or, you know, I don't know. But they thought everything evolved from the water like that. But what they didn't know is that the reason that you find maggots on dead carcasses is because as soon as it's dead, it lies there for a minute and the flies come and land on it and lay eggs, and those are the larvae. So, yeah. Pasteur is the one that invented bacteria, but you know, a lot of you don't believe in science, so you don't believe in bacteria. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm just saying, there's a lot of things we don't understand, guys. You can't throw all the babies out with the bathwater. We have to, if we're going to disprove a scientific theorem, which doesn't mean it's a theory. Everything's a theorem. There are no facts. We're always constantly trying to understand. And nobody can say they know everything. Absolute. You know, as though, like, face to face, like Paul says, well, then we will be face to face. But right now we look at it as though in a mirror, you know, it's a reflection of the truth. It's just a shadow. But if you believe that the Earth's not round or spherical, then you'd have to do a lot of rigorous scientific experimentation and come up with some scientific particular experiment, come up with your own theory that you could demonstrate with some facts. And then those theories that you come up with, if they seem to work with one set of rules, and they have to work in all situations. So you take a picture on the lake and you can see further than what the curvature of the Earth should be. So that doesn't prove that there's no curvature. Now, it could be that the Earth is bigger than we think and it's a curvature, but much, much bigger. Or it could be something else, like refraction, which science has known about for a long, long time. Because the light comes down through the air, which is actually particles, not nothing. There's little oxygen molecules in there, hydrogen, and, you know. And as the light comes through, it gets denser, you know, because it's colder way up there and warmer down here, and that displaces the elements differently. So it's like when you shine light through a prism or through a magnifying glass, it bends the light. Light bends. This is, you know, E equals mc squared. This is the whole theory of relativity. So light bends and makes mass, makes a round mass. That's what happens. There's some force that's causing it to bend. Now, it could just be a perception. It could end up being that we're wrong and the Earth is flat because it only appears to be round, even if you get back and look at it from space. But that it actually doesn't stop at the North Pole. It just goes in through a wormhole and on, you know, because of relativity or something. You know, there's all kinds of possibilities. I personally think that's true. I think that when you go to the North Pole, you go through a wormhole and you end up on probably Venus. And then from Venus to Mercury to the Sun. And from Sun to the nearest star and all the way to the center of the galaxy. And then beyond, who knows? We don't even know. But light is mind. So you're entering someone's consciousness by going into the light. So when you close your eyes at night and you see a little flash of light in front of your eyes and you go right into it, it's like a dream. You're going into a consciousness where you're, by faith, by intent, holding your thoughts together into a imagery. And you pretend you're there. Your consciousness is there, present in your thoughts. And so this is a bubble of thought. But it's an organized thing where we have a collective consciousness here on this earth. And we're held together in this little bubble by our collective consciousness, but we are not haphazardly living here by some collective consciousness out of nowhere. It's a classroom. As we graduate, birds of a feather flock together. We're here together because we're at the same class. And when anyone ever achieves, well, I don't believe very few, if any, ever really achieve salvation all by themselves. It's like at the end or a close of an age, it's a harvest, and the angels are the reapers, and we go on to the next. If we're ready, if we've learned certain, goalposts, we've gotten to certain understandings, become more conscious, more aware, then this consciousness doesn't hold us anymore. Our attention is taken off to another higher virtue to aspire to. And we go to a place where everybody on that planet is aspiring to some particular virtue that is something we did not know about or understand or pursue on this planet. And there's probably not much difference between the next world and this one, except that we know that this is the last planet before immortality. So we're still kind of hovering in the animal kingdom here, where we're going around and around in this rebirth, but we're going to become like the divine being. We're going to have immortality in the next life. Now, there'll be those that are here, living on this earth, that are here, that when this harvest comes, they won't get through this class, or possibly they'll have to wait, because the Bible says that the rest of the dead didn't come to life until the 1,000 years were ended. And it looks like there might be cycles to this, because it says Satan is again let loose from his prison. I wonder how many times they let him loose, But don't worry, that's not endless torture. It's only for those who have not yet conquered that beast in his image by learning to play on their harps, the 10-string harp, and harmonizing these frequencies. It's only those who had not learned how to get their white garments, which comes from grace and just to relax, to love one another, and doesn't come from, hypocrisy and jealousy. Once you get over that anger, that animal instinctual nature that we're going through on this plane, I believe this is the last age. And there'll be one more, of course. The next 1,000 years will end another classroom. But this will be the end for a lot of people. It will be the end of this mortality. And that's going to be a wonderful thing. Well, it doesn't look like it's going to even be a sunset. It's just kind of, well, maybe it will after it gets a little down further. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to do a long video out here today. Let's go down and go around here. Take a little looky look at this from this angle. Look at that tree. Big old tree. Some big ones. That's a big old tree. That one over there is really pretty too. And it's big. I wonder what that light is. Because there's a car going by and they got lights, but what's that big light shining this way? probably a car beyond them. He's spacing us with his headlights on. I don't know. Alright. Get him! Get him, Maggie! Hi, Barry. Let's go home, guys. Oh, such a nice evening. It's not cold at all. Yeah, when I fell over that bob wire a week ago, for those of you who remember that, if you were watching, I actually cut my leg on the bob wire. It scratched my leg pretty good. And I didn't even really know it was scratched. Then I started feeling it like that night, and in the morning it was just really sore, and I thought, well, just, you know, raggedy cut like that's gonna kind of be, it's gonna hurt a little bit, but I didn't do anything to it. I didn't put anything on it for 2 days, and then I looked at it and it was infected. I mean, yeah, it didn't look too serious, just kind of, you know, red, but a little more than what I would like to see. And so I immediately put some peroxide on it, and I put some iodine, and it's still sore, but it is getting better. But I was thinking, you know, how easy it would be, you know, if you're out in the mountains or whatever, in the woods or something by yourself, and you get cut, or something, just something small even, and you don't have like some peroxide or some iodine or something, or alcohol or something to put on it to clean it, and you can get infected and you can die if you didn't have a hospital or somewhere to go that knew, you know, had something to put on it to cleanse it. And I mean, you know, you can find things in the wild, but we have to learn these things. We have to know these things, like maybe pine needles or something. Boil them. That might, I don't know. I'm just saying, we could look up. There's certain herbs and things that people use to disinfect wounds, but it's good to have knowledge of that. Not just what we can eat, but also, you know, learning herbs and what kind of herbs can save our life in different circumstances. But I've never had any kind of infection. It was any kind of serious thing. I mean, all my life I've never really worried about that. But one time I was working, and I worked straight through really long shifts for 3 days. And I had worn like a blister on my foot. And I didn't think much of it, but it got infected and started turning gangrene. I never had that before. It started going up my leg. And I don't know much about that, but I've heard about it, and I didn't want to take any chances. So, yeah, I had to go get some kind of amoxicillin or some kind of thing. And it took care of it. But sometimes those kinds of things are necessary, you know. So we need to learn that kind of stuff so we can help people during the time of tribulation, when we might actually be called upon to know some of this stuff to help somebody to save their life. So one of you guys out there, I mean, I'll do it too. I mean, I'll look into it myself a little bit, although I don't have a lot of time because I'm always looking into other things, but I'll do as much as I can. But you know, I say this because if any of you have time to look into it, and I mean, some of you may already know some of this, but look into various kinds of weeds and things that might be good for medicines, especially to keep infection off of your wound or something. from the area around New Mexico where I'm going to be anyway, and other places where others might be. But these dogs, they just don't have any quit in them, you know. They'll play until they just get so dog tired. Let's call it dog tired. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and shut this off, and I'll be back to the cabin here in a minute, and I'll probably load this one as well. And like I said, there's another video that I just got finished with. I'll probably release that one here in about an hour. So we'll see you guys. Have a good one.